Hello everyone, my name is Jovan and this is my channel, Mystic Starseed Transmissions. I practice divination and healing arts, and today I want to share with you the astrological aspects and the astrological transits that are happening right now during this Libra new moon. But these effects will last for at least a week, or at least all the way up until the full moon. So I want to discuss all the big things happening, because this is actually quite a big new beginning with this new moon. I will go through the aspects and talk to you about how there is a portal that opened with the new moon. And that is the T-Square with the Capricorn stellium happening right now, that's been here for the last year in a major way, which is Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter T-squaring the sun and the moon in Libra, and then T-squaring Mars in retrograde and Chiron retrograde, and honorable mention to Black Moon Lilith in the House of Aries, the first house. So we've got this triangulation here, housed by the stellium in Capricorn, and this is actually a portal into a new cycle. And this cycle is actually very intense, but again, I would like to say that we are in the midst of endings and beginnings, right? But in between that, we have the transformational stage, which is what's happening. And when I was looking at this chart, I couldn't help but notice, like, if you see, it's action packed. There's a lot going on, and I couldn't help but notice that there's oppositions, a lot of oppositions, and the retrogrades, a lot of retrogrades, Mercury retrograde, Neptune, Uranus, Mars, and Chiron. So this is a time where almost like the energy is kind of standing still. Like I'm seeing the energy like just kind of moving and shaking like that. And what's happening is that the transformation energy, like the shifts, the alchemy is happening right now with these retrogrades. And right now with the new Libra new moon, we've got that T-square, the portal into the new earth that a lot of us are ready to step into, with love, as some of us are trying to leave behind more of the chaos, the fears, the lower matrix constructs, and to begin to, I guess, ascend into a higher vibration of love, the Libran love, right? The higher Libran love. So let's dive into some of the astrological aspects, but then I kind of also want to go into what I've been channeling from the goddess energy and the earth. Well, one and the same, right? So lots of cool stuff coming in, and I'm just going to look at this really quick. My notes say oppositions. Very indicative of the energy on the planet as a collective, with the polarities, right? It shows the polarities are being shown, and I thought it was kind of funny how all of a sudden we have all these oppositions, clearly showing that many things are divided. But for me, the way I see oppositions is like it's actually a chance for balance and negotiation. It's a chance to bring two things together in a way that can alchemize into something new, by using two different aspects, and then creating a new energy through that to work with and navigate through. So that's where I'm seeing a lot of positivity here, even though for some this is going to be a very intense time. So, but what I'm seeing with the Libra new moon, this is about designing your life, designing the life that you would love, and that includes the partnerships and relationships in our life, right? Because those are the reflections of our inner world. So this portal is creating that energy, that supportive energy, to develop this blueprint for what we want to see to come as we put the seed of intention out there during the new moon. So Libra and the sun, of course, are conjunct during the new moon. I'm sorry, the moon and the sun are conjunct during the new moon in Libra. So what Libra is trying to do, while it's in opposition to Mars in retrograde, Chiron retrograde, and Black Moon Lilith in Aries, is Libra's trying to illuminate where Aries needs to not only find a sense of self-love and self-worth, but also to see the Aries wounds for what they are, and to heal these wounds. And as I'm seeing this chart, there's Neptune and Pisces. I also got a very strong message that this is also about healing the illusions and traumas from the past lives in the cycle of Pisces. So there's a lot of trauma within that age of Pisces. Now we're moving away into the age of Aquarius, which is happening, right? So as Aries works through all these feelings of self-worth and feelings of, am I enough? You know, why was I born here? Well, who am I? This is something that Libra is trying to illuminate for the Aries, the self, right? So that the Mars energy, which is in retrograde right now and just like hanging back, can really reflect on how to use the energy, the life force energy, properly in alignment with divine or unconditional love, instead of just service to self. So that's why right now Mars is in retrograde, and using some of that life force energy to face the shadow, to work with these wounds. This is the opportunity we're being given. Of course, we have free will choice, but this is what is being supported here. And even with Black Moon Lilith, which is like such an important aspect that I've started to understand, that Lilith is very close to Pluto in terms of energy wise, but it's a transit that happens every month. And Black Moon Lilith is basically all the dark stuff that we don't want to see, that we repress even from our own subconscious. And all this dark stuff that we repress is actually what is creating a lot of the conflict or toxic patterns within, toxic patterns and blockages and sabotage towards our living our best life. This is individually and collectively. The stuff that we refuse to see doesn't automatically go away because we choose to deny it, as we do in Pisces. It goes away when we choose to see it for what it is, face it, accept it, and let it dissipate and transform into something else. In the meantime, while we continue to repress and push, it just erupts in another way, and probably more destructive than if there wouldn't have been shame connected in with what is considered unacceptable. And so we then project, right? And that is what we project out into the world. When we don't process our own emotions, we act them out in the outer world. And sometimes when these emotions are so feared or intense or so repressed and so denied, this can erupt in extreme cases as violence, aggression, anger, warlike tendencies, which we're seeing with Chiron in retrograde, Mars in retrograde, and Lilith all in the Aries right now. So there's a lot of work being done here, and it's about facing our shadow. And the message that I keep getting is, the more we face our own darkness and we do the inner work, the more the world that we see and perceive around us will be more harmonious and peaceful and in alignment with our greatest joys, because it's all perception, right? So with that being said, this is what is the challenge with what's going on when we look out and we're watching the news and we're seeing people upset and stressed and fearful. This is a lot of a byproduct of the things that we have held or kept in the dark or labeled as bad or shameful as a society. And it's been internalized within us, making us feel like we're inherently bad, or we have something to hide or prove. And, you know, the Aries is the I am. It's all about identity in the body. And when the Aries energy or archetype is wounded, it is the wounded child, the wounded warrior, but it's coming from a place of feeling unworthy of even being life force, because there's something shameful that I'm hiding, or there's something shameful about me because I've been told this. So it goes deep, and then that is reflected out into the world. But so right now, Libra, the sun and the moon in Libra right now are like trying to illuminate these things that need to be faced with some compassion. The choice is ours, though, because the more we project outward, the more we're distracting ourselves from really the work that we need to be doing internally. Because if everybody changed themselves, then the world would be a different place, right? All right, I'm gonna stop preaching, but I want to get back into this. So now here's another very important thing. So with that being said, so we've got these two opposing houses, right? All these signs in these houses, but then it becomes a triangulation with a T-square, which is in Capricorn. We've got, again, Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter at the head, right, of the triangle. And so what's happening here is with this stellium, this very powerful stellium, a stellium basically, like, when shit changes, it's not going back to the way it was. These are big changes on a collective level that, you know, that are ready to be born, and that is exactly what is happening. Saturn is ready, get this, is ready to change. And that's not something that most people would say about Saturn. Saturn likes structure, rules, things going and moving in a certain way for long periods of time, right? But because we're now going into the age of Aquarius, that is when Saturn is Saturn's about to be going into Aquarius, and Saturn's like, I'm ready to change. Because though Saturn is a stickler for rules, Saturn also likes things that work, and what is going on this planet right now is not working. So this T-square, this triangulation, is a portal of stabilization for effective action. And then the stellium is basically coming to terms with the fact that the old paradigm is losing its usefulness, and it's time for a new paradigm. So that's exciting, right? And so at this point, the stellium is supporting the sun and the moon in Libra, knowing that we have to raise to a higher octave of love in order for this planet to continue to function and thrive. But we must get clear with our desires and our intent to fulfill this, our destiny, or path, or purpose, or, you know, or just come into alignment, right, with who we are and what we want to do in the world, individually and collectively. So what's happening is that this is basically what we're being supported with, because if you see, the North Node is also in a yacht with the stellium. So this is all about getting clear on what our purpose is to be here for. So with Mars in retrograde, it's about reviewing and re-strategizing this new action plan to accomplish this higher level of evolvement, is this new paradigm. So getting clear on our desire, our intent, coming from a place of purity, right? Because we're doing the inner work, we're getting to the root of what truly brings us joy and passion, and then getting clear on what we want to seed with intent in this new moon, that will facilitate our truest calling in true alignment. So Mars has to be in retrograde because Mars has got fast, go, go, go. It has to calm down right now, because while all of this is happening and we're like trying to figure all this shit out, we're being given the grace that Mars is waiting. Because Mars, even though it's very fast action and its aggression and its force, it's also a strategizer and it is a thinker. So it's reviewing, re-strategizing the action plan, or waiting for the action, the intent and desire to come through in order to move forward eventually, when everything is situated with all the other energies. So we have to get clear with who we are, and when we clear our wounds, we can see who we truly are, which is loving divine spirits ascending to a higher level of consciousness into this new world. So the universe is basically telling Mars, just hold up before you spin your wheels, stop and think, let us get clear. We are creating a space for people to get clear. And so the stellium in Capricorn is providing necessary big changes with the Pluto energy, right? But using those practical Saturn steps and big scoops of blessings for success with Jupiter, but Jupiter definitely makes it big, right? So these are big changes. So Saturn will reassemble a new structure with the help of Pluto's transformative energy, and Jupiter is not only ensuring these big changes, but also supporting with divine will. So yeah, they're enlisting Mars, they're enlisting the Sun, they're enlisting the Moon, they're enlisting Chiron, and well, they're kind of trying to like keep Black Moon Lilith like, okay, we gotta get you in a better place, right? So they're providing shelter. The stellium is providing shelter for us to move forward and evolve as people, and learning to express ourselves in friendlier, more community-based, loving ways, instead of just being that war, right? Now, let's just be clear. We're seeing a lot of polarity. We're seeing a lot of conflict. We're seeing a lot of aggression and violence. We're seeing this. And so yes, there's a polarity. Not everybody is choosing to do the inner work. Not everybody is choosing to see how they played a part in the way the world is now, right? Because let's face it, a lot of us were sleeping, and while things were happening around us, what were we doing? I mean, not all of us, but I'm saying as a group of people, watching TV, you know, going shopping, drinking, doing all this shit, which is, sorry, totally fine, but not when it's done to the point of what we're escaping the reality of what is actually being asked of us, which is to evolve for the Age of Aquarius and into a sense of more peace and harmony and loving thy neighbor. But you can only love your neighbor if you love yourself, right? So it's a lot there's a lot going on. So I think it's good to be patient with ourselves, because we're still not yet clear on yet how we're going to come together and unify as a people. But we have to have faith that there are bigger energies at work that will help us settle this. At the same time, we can also assist with small steps, right? We can also assist within our own life. That is all we can control right now. So, and I'm saying that because I'm seeing the true node in Gemini. And you know, it's kind of hard to see everything the way it's going to pan out when we are in the cycle of, you know, the cycles of life. They're basically birth, form, right? Enjoying the form, death, transformation, and then rebirth. Okay, this is a cycle. Right now, we are in transformation phase. A lot of things have died, and we're grieving and we're scared because humans don't like to change. And now before we can begin, we are in the mix, in the pot of transformation. We're in the alchemical cauldron. So we can't possibly know everything. We can only do the best that we can. And be responsible for what? Being the best person that we can be. And healing what needs to heal. So, and you know, when it gets to the point where you just don't know what to do and you've lost hope, or you feel hopeless, despair, fear, whatever it is that you're going through, anxiety, you know, we're all going through something. The best approach is to go within, meditate, or pray. And you will receive the answer that you need for that moment in time that will get you through. This is a lot about faith. And so within all this, Jupiter's there, blessing us, kissing us from the sky, wanting us, challenging us to think big. The sky's the limit, but we can start small. So I thought that was like just really beautiful energy coming through. And so then we have the Mercury Retrograde in Scorpio. And I'm almost wondering if I should do a separate video, or I might cut this in half. We'll see. Let me just talk about it, and then I might just cut this in half, and you might see a second half. Okay, so very big thing happening is the Mercury Retrograde in Scorpio. Okay, it's also in opposition to Uranus in Taurus, which has been there for quite a while. Okay, so I know I'm feeling this energy. I'm very strongly connected to Mercury and Scorpio energies, so it's been an interesting challenge to get very clear on certain things. Anyways, I digress. What's happening here with the Mercury retrograde in Scorpio is that this is basically giving us an opportunity to rethink, deprogram, and reprogram. Okay, let me say that again. It's giving us an opportunity to rethink or review, deprogram, then reprogram. And what I mean by this, it's like Scorpio is very transformative energy. And here, what I'm seeing is that what's coming up with Mercury in Scorpio is we are being given a chance to see and to evaluate what destructive or toxic patterns we have held and lived with in our life that have held us back from moving forward or living a life that is fulfilling. I'm seeing this as individually and collectively, but basically getting clear on the destructive or self-sabotaging thoughts, emotions, actions, speech, perceptions, all that stuff that we do that perpetuate karmic density on this planet. And so what's happening is, again, in order for us to move into the new world, into a new paradigm of a higher vibrational love in the cosmic heart, we have to release these false thoughts and patterns and emotions that we have held in that have been negative and self-harmful and harmful to others. These patterns are inherited from our ancestors, from our past lives, from our community, our society, our structures. These toxic patterns or habits or ways of being within the culture, these belief systems are inherited. And it's about understanding that, and that it's a part of the karmic process, and that to take solace in the fact that karma is releasing as this intensity is starting to come up from the bowels of the earth itself, with Uranus in Taurus, right? Makes sense, right? Because I hope I'm explaining this right. It's like you've got Uranus and Taurus opposing Mercury in Scorpio. Uranus is sudden change. It's electricity. It's can be disruption, but it's also genius, and it's also unique and innovative thinking, and it's freedom. It is the Aquarius energy of seeing things from a higher detached perspective. And so what's happening with Uranus in Taurus, which Taurus is our stable structure, it's our earth, it's our routines, our patterns, the things that we do to, you know, keep the physical world in check. All of this is the structure that we've been working with without questioning it. So Uranus is breaking all that stuff up, breaking up these false senses of security, breaking up these old routines and habits that are actually creating stagnancy within the evolution of the human and this planet. So Uranus is like, I just keep seeing like rubble, like breaking up the earth, right? The earth energies and all this karmic steam coming out from the underground, right? That's been boiling in there, and Uranus is like, nope, we're gonna shake that up. We're gonna shake that up, and we're gonna pull that out, and you're gonna see things in your mind is gonna be free. The energy is freed, right? And it's in opposition to Mercury, thought, in Scorpio. And so it makes a lot of sense. It's like releasing old thoughts, destructive, outdated patterns, beliefs, habits, like all this shit, that all this indoctrination that we've inherited, this karma we've inherited. We're being given a chance to look at it and know that this does not have to define who we are. We can transform this into a more objective, detached, innovative, new and fresh and higher vibrational consciousness for the Age of Aquarius. So it's really fucking cool. Sorry. So it's really cool. I'm going to try to edit that. I said fuck. Okay. So yeah. So let's see what else I have here. So yeah, Uranus and Taurus isn't giving us a choice in this. It's going to transform. You can't stop Uranus. And Uranus is a higher octave of Mercury, by the way, so it's very interesting. It's showing you the evolution and the jumping up to a higher level of consciousness. So we're going to be forever changed, and this will be bringing more freedom. But we get to choose where we focus this energy and this freedom. So again, it goes back to the polarities. Some people may choose to continue down this broken path. Like they can't go back to the way things were before. But if certain people or us as a society don't learn how to become innovative and learn how to work with transformative energies to create better structures and ways of being, then they're going to hobble along in a even more decrepit way of living. And we don't want to do that. We want to continue to evolve with the times, and I think most of us will, but it is a choice. So this will require effort on our part, but there's no need to feel despair, okay? Because we have so much support right now. So I do want to say, and I think I just skipped over it. So these thoughts, these toxic thoughts, I think it goes without saying, or these toxic patterns that we've been living with and working with that have been inherited, are fear-based, are ego-based. I'm not going to get too much into, or maybe I will, but about the patriarchy, about like the types of systems that we have been as people living under that may not have been the best for us, because they are kind of ego fear-based, and it's caused a lot of suppression, right? A lot of Black Moon Lilith things, a lot of suppression, a lot of harm in terms of like not honoring that there is a better way to look at life. It doesn't always have to be like dog eat dog world and competition and we're gonna die, like, this is a fear-based linear thinking. So that's going to be the challenge. Like, we are being given this opportunity to reprogram But the challenge is the ego and the fear that we're all attached to. So it's going to be important for us to ask ourselves, where does our ego play too much of a part in our life, our decision-making process, and our beliefs, and in the way we interact with the world? And how does it harm us? Because this is all about ascending into a higher vibration, again, of love, and programming our minds to think in the form of love and positivity, and that the universe is here for us, not against us. But trust that everything is coming through love, even if it is tough love. You know, from the higher realms, this is not to punish us. This is because this is the way energy works. Birth, form, death, transformation, rebirth. But we must release all the programming from control-based narratives. And this Mercury energy is a tool to harness these things. Mercury is very intelligent, very crafty. So ask yourself, what transformational tools do I have to deprogram myself from these old toxic patterns? What can I do? How can I think about things in a different way? I mean, even simple things like therapy, hypnotherapy, meditation. There's tools to use to get to these points where we can understand how to deprogram and then reprogram into a higher consciousness, right? And it takes work. Let's not lie. But Mercury is a messenger of the gods, so you're going to be given the steps that you need when you ask. Here's another interesting thing. I hope this is not too long-winded, but I'm almost done, and I hope this was helpful. Sometimes I get long-winded. Anyways, there is a yacht here, and I'm not going to touch too much on the yacht, but I do want to bring up that what I got from it, the message that I received when I looked at the yacht, which is the focal point, the apex is the true node in Gemini, and splaying out, coning out to Pluto and Jupiter. Basically, the message I got is that for us to remember what we see, our perception, right? What we see and was projected before our eyes on the world stage is really what we are holding internally, and that all the clues that we hold within our own human experience and perception are seen out in the world, meaning all the clues for our own inner work and self-healing, all the clues of what bothers us, what has caused discord and unrest and feelings of shame or lack of self-worth. You know, if we're talking about healing, we also see beautiful things. I'm not trying to say we see all. This is like a war zone, even though for some it is, and sometimes I don't think most people can completely turn a blind eye to that. There's beautiful things happening in the world too, and we're seeing those too. And I want you to congratulate yourself and know that the beautiful things that you're seeing in your world are inner reflections of what you have in your heart and your soul. But since I'm a healer with the purpose of working with healing and self-healing and transformation, I want to just point out that when we are seeing these negative things in the world through media, or just people around us, it is a reflection of what is going on within us, right? It's a fractalized version. The energy is the same, though it might be that the actual specific details are played out differently, right? But the energy, the frequency is the same. So these are clues to know what we need to work through in our own life, so that we can see and perceive things even more beautifully around us. And the more we do that, the more beautiful we will see the world around us, and we'll see more beautiful than we see bad. Because reality is all perception in the end, right? Consciousness. So this will also help you too. Once you get very clear on that, then you'll have a better understanding of how you can express who you are in the world around you. So again, it's like finding the patterns, right, that you see out there, and then trying to see if there's any correlation to link them or connect them or to similarities that you find within yourself. Why do certain things bother you? Why do you feel this way about this person? Besides the obvious reason, try to go back to what it's triggering within you. And usually a lot of the times it goes back into childhood or even past life. And I'm going to say, yeah, safe to say that, especially with the energy that's happening right now and karma being released. So anyways, that's just some stuff, some food for thought to think about. And again, with Black Moon Lilith in Aries, this is the stuff, it's about getting to the nitty gritty and the deep dark stuff in the collective and as well as individual. That's really going to give us that push into the next level, because we have to love and accept all parts of us. We are perfect, whole, and complete already, but when we disassociate from some things we perceive as bad, or someone has told us is bad, we lose love for ourselves, and we're not the whole vital life force. This is about getting real with ourselves, and even if it's painful, the pain will go away as all things change, and the pain will go away and will release you into a higher frequency of perception. That's what this is about. So Black Moon Lilith, collective and personal trauma and grief is being experienced right now because of everything that's been repressed in the patriarchy for centuries, and even within our own family lines, right? So now these last 3 months, like, yes, there's gonna be changes, and it's gonna be hard, it's gonna be intense. I'm not going to lie to you. But the more we focus on ourselves and our life and being present with giving ourselves the love and healing we need, it will reflect out into the world. So the last 3 months, the energies are calling for us to go with it. And for some people who need to hear this, stop throwing your aggression around, or your passive aggression around, like it's something outside of you that's bothering you, because and I do this too. So it's like, it's really not. Peace is within, and then we'll see it reflected outward. And I say that with love, because believe me, I've gone through all that stuff too, as we're all on this healing path, this healing journey together with love and light. So hopefully this was helpful. I have more information that was channeled through from Goddess Energy, but I think I'm going to cut this short and just do another video. All right, love and light. Bye.